Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. My friends, every day woke gets a little more broke as the excesses of the past decade are getting rolled back to sanity, one company at a time. This weekend, we learned that none other than AT&T has seen the error of its ways and is balling up their DEI programs and filing them in the waste paper basket. Whenever I do a story like this, I always get people saying, "This is bullshit. They're just rebranding and hiding. Nothing is changing." Well, I disagree, my friends. All of this is very good news, and I'll explain why all this represents genuine progress later in this video. That said, even the most cynical among us must agree that last year we saw a number of high-profile companies step away from the culture wars and start the process of healing the rifts caused by this extremist division, including Toyota and Walmart, and yes, even Disney, surely the wokiest place on earth. As all of you know, for the past decade, Disney has been rock solid in their devotion to spreading the LGBTQIA MOUSE agenda at the expense of investors and stockholders, sacrificing profits on the altar of woke. And yet even Disney blinked earlier this year when they backed away from DEI like Indiana Jones backing away from a cobra in the Well of Souls. When that happens, my friends, when things get so bad that even Disney is retreating from these policies, it's a sign that a fundamental shift is happening all over the country. In a report by Fox Business titled "Disney Drops Controversial Reimagine Tomorrow Program as Company Pares Back DEI Initiatives," they state, quote, "Disney confirmed they are ending their Reimagine Tomorrow program after Fox News Digital exposed they didn't include the controversial DEI program in their latest SEC filing. The House of Mouse announced that they are ending the program along with a slew of other DEI initiatives in an email first reported by Axios sent to employees. Disney dropped Reimagine Tomorrow from its 2024 SEC filing, but today's announcement goes further by confirming that the program has been terminated and its website has been shut down. Additionally, Disney will no longer use DEI as a factor in its employee compensation. The movie, TV, and theme park powerhouse will now instead use new talent strategy metrics, which are centered on business success. What? Disney prioritizing business success over spreading queerness wherever they can? Sounds like science fiction, I know, and yet it happened just a few weeks ago. That's a huge deal, my friends, when the wokest of the woke make a public change like this. A change mirrored in their latest Disney Plus show, Daredevil Born Again, which shows refreshingly no signs of wokeness and marks a return to solid storytelling with actual superhero shit in it. It means the shift happening in our society has even penetrated into the halls of the Magic Kingdom, and even Disney is being forced to adapt to the inevitable. And now, the latest company to shake off the DEI yoke is none other than AT&T. According to an article on Yahoo Finance titled "AT&T Drops Pronoun Pins, Cancels Pride Programs in DEI Unwind," Bloomberg reports, quote, "AT&T Inc. is no longer encouraging employees to wear pins that state their favored pronouns and has canceled a series of LGBTQ-friendly events in the most recent effort by a big company to roll back its diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives," unquote. So what does this mean in practical terms? Crusader Robbie Starbuck on X broke it down with a major and very detailed update. Quote, "Massive news. I contacted AT&T recently to let them know that I was doing a story on their woke policies. They decided to make big changes. I can now exclusively tell you what's changing. AT&T will no longer have a chief DEI officer. AT&T is eliminating all DEI training, which is particularly pernicious when you're forced to sit in a room as a white person and say that there's absolutely nothing you can do, you are born a racist. AT&T will no longer work with the HRC and will no longer participate in their woke CEI social credit system. AT&T will no longer have pronoun pins in their employee style guide. AT&T is ending sponsorships and partnerships like the Queer Turn Up the Love campaign and the Trevor Project, who supports transitioning children. All sponsorships going forward must align with their core business and not be divisive. Well, hallelujah. Instead of supplier diversity, AT&T is now focused on growing their small business supplier base. There will now be centralized management of all employee resource groups to ensure that their activities align with the core business and not divisive activism. Career development and scholarships will now be open to everyone and will never be race-based. Going forward, their strategy will be about growth and how they drive growth to the business. I have to give their executives major credit for making these changes because these are some major changes. AT&T has 140,000 plus employees and a market cap of around $200 billion. Those employees will now have a neutral workplace without feeling that divisive issues are being injected, and this corporate neutrality focus will also extend to their many suppliers who will no longer feel pressure to endorse woke policies, unquote.
You know, it's kind of like all these companies contracted a virus that made them comatose, but now with a little bit of shock therapy, they're waking up and getting back to work. Could the long national nightmare be ending at last? Pardon my cynicism, but may I point out they're simply changing names, shuffling terms around, and going underground, rebranding their woke crap to hide it better from public view.
I've heard that argument from many in our audience, O Skull of Calderon, and yet that in and of itself is progress. If it's gotten so discredited that it has to go underground, retreat after gaining so much traction and infiltrating so much of our culture, that in and of itself is a victory. They're acknowledging failure in retreating, in rebranding, in hiding. They're admitting that they have not changed society. A winner, after all, has no need to hide, right? And frankly, they're smart to hide because the pendulum is swinging the other way now, and hard and fast. In their article, Yahoo Finance elaborates, quote, President Donald Trump has banned the use of preferred programs in the federal government and has said he may target private companies for illegal diversity programs. AT&T joins more than 24 companies, from Amazon.com Inc. to Walmart Inc., that have made changes to their DEI programs in the face of threats of boycotts, lawsuits, and more recently, federal prosecution. The pressure increased after Trump's Attorney General Pam Bondi set a March 1st deadline for a report outlining potential targets among companies and other non-governmental organizations for investigation of DEI practices. The report, if completed, has not been made public. Federal contractors such as Citigroup Inc., Accenture plc, and Booz Allen Hamilton Holding Corp. have announced rollbacks since Trump's inauguration, unquote. Folks, when you're winning, you do not retreat. You do not rebrand. You do not go underground. These are strategies you employ when you're losing. And all of this directly bears on the war to save pop culture because, as we've seen, where the rest of corporate America goes, Hollywood eventually follows. This is good news, folks. There's just no way around it. It is good news, and I will continue to monitor the situation moving forward. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.